Attention passionate Philadelphia, EAGLES. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Philadelphia Eagles' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Philadelphia Eagles fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Philadelphia, EAGLES. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to what's happening around the Eagles lately, you know that this offseason has been quite the roller coaster. There's been a lot of talk about how the team is shaping up for another push towards the Super Bowl, but also, naturally, some concerns about certain positions. One of those positions that's been under the spotlight is the cornerback spot. And honestly, for a team with such a rich defensive history, it's surprising how much chatter there's been about potential gaps or vacancies, especially with key players like James Bradberry and Darius Slay now moving on. But as always, the Eagles are not just sitting back. They're actively looking to improve, to retool, and to come back even stronger. And one name that's been floating around as a potential target, a guy who could really make a difference if the price is right, is Cleveland Browns cornerback Greg Newsome II. Now, I want you to imagine the scene. The Eagles, known for their aggressive and strategic moves, are eyeing a player who's just entering his prime. Greg Newsome, a former first-round pick, a guy with a lot of talent and a lot of potential, is seen by many analysts as a perfect fit for the Eagles' defensive scheme, especially under the guidance of Vic Fangio, who's known for valuing versatile, multi-talented defensive backs. Newsome, who just turned 25 in May, has already built a solid resume in his NFL career. Over 4 seasons, he started in quite a few games, 42 starts to be precise, and has proven to be a reliable, if sometimes injury-prone, presence on the Browns' defense. His stats are pretty impressive for someone still so young, with 155 total tackles, 34 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions, including a pick-6 in 2023. But what really makes him intriguing isn't just the numbers. It's his skill set, his instinctiveness, his physicality. The Eagles, especially under Fangio, value those traits because they want defenders who can do more than just cover. They want defenders who can blitz, play zone, man up, and adapt to different offensive schemes seamlessly. What makes the Greg Newsome story even more interesting is the current situation with the Browns. Cleveland, as you know, has been rebuilding and reshaping their roster. After a strong 2023 season, where Newsome had arguably his best year, finishing with career highs across the board, they're now in a position where they might consider trading him. And that's where the Eagles come into focus. You see, the Eagles' secondary is pretty solid overall, especially with Darius Slay and James Bradberry. But with Bradberry's expected release in March 2025 and Slay now in Pittsburgh, there's a sense that Philadelphia needs to add depth, especially in the outside cornerback spots. That's why the possibility of trading for someone like Newsome is gaining traction among analysts and fans alike. And it's not just speculation, there are concrete signs pointing in that direction. For example, the Eagles are set to face the Browns in joint practices on August 13, a perfect opportunity for the coaching staff to evaluate Newsome firsthand. Imagine him lining up against the Eagles' receivers, showing his coverage skills, his ability to read the quarterback, and his physicality in real time. Such a live audition could be a game changer, giving the Eagles a clear picture of whether he fits their system. Plus, the fact that Newsome has a manageable cap hit of around $4 million for 2025 makes the potential trade more feasible. It's a number that's higher than any current Eagles cornerback salary, but for a player with his upside and experience, it's a worthy investment. Let's not forget, Newsome's college days at Northwestern showcased his talent early on. He was a standout, and that translated smoothly into the NFL, where he's been a key piece of the Browns' secondary when healthy. And speaking of health, that's one of the concerns with Newsome. Over his 4 seasons, he's battled injuries, including a hamstring injury in 2024 that ultimately cut his season short. Missing games is never ideal, especially for a team looking to make a deep playoff run. But when he's on the field, he's shown he can hold his own against top receivers. His 2023 season was particularly notable because he helped Cleveland finish with the league's top-ranked defense in both total yards and passing yards allowed. That's no small feat, and it highlights the kind of impact a player like Newsome can have on a team that's already pretty good defensively, but looking to take that next step. Now you might be thinking, would the Browns really trade him? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Cleveland has been known for making moves, especially if they believe they're getting good value in return. And if they're in a rebuild mode or looking to free up cap space, trading Newsome could be a smart move. For the Eagles, it's about weighing that risk versus reward. Do they overpay? Do they give up too much of their draft capital? Or do they see his potential as a key piece for their secondary for years to come? The truth is, if the price is right, Newsome could be a game changer, especially in a division like the NFC East, where passing attacks are explosive and defenses need to be versatile and aggressive. It's also worth mentioning that the Eagles have been building a team with a mix of young talent and experienced veterans. Guys like Cooper DeJean and Quinnen Mitchell are emerging as promising prospects, but there's always room for a seasoned, talented player who can step in and contribute immediately. Newsome, with his experience, athleticism, and playmaking ability, fits that mold perfectly. Plus, the Eagles' defensive coordinator Vic Fangio has a reputation for getting the most out of his defensive backs, and Newsome's skill set aligns perfectly with what Fangio values: versatility, instinctiveness, and physicality. For the fans, this is an exciting storyline. It's about the possibility of upgrading a position that's been somewhat unsettled since the departures of key players. It's about the Eagles' front office identifying an opportunity to enhance their defense, to add depth, and to prepare for the inevitable battles ahead. The NFC East is one of the most competitive divisions in the league, with the Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders all vying for supremacy. Having a threat like Newsome in the secondary could tilt the scales in Philadelphia's favor, especially if he can bring that extra edge in coverage and playmaking. And it's not just about one player. It's about the bigger picture: how the Eagles continue to evolve, how they stay aggressive in the market, and how they capitalize on opportunities to build a championship-caliber roster. Remember, the team's recent success, the deep playoff runs, the Super Bowl appearance in 2022, all stem from smart moves, solid drafting, and strategic trades. This potential Newsome trade fits right into that pattern. It's a move that could pay dividends down the line, especially if he adapts quickly to the Eagles' system and stays healthy. Now, I want to talk a little about the broader context. The Eagles' defense has been a strength for a while now, but every championship contender knows that you can't rest on your laurels. You need to keep adding pieces, keep improving, and stay ahead of your rivals. The NFC East is no exception. The Cowboys are always tough on defense, the Giants are trying to rebuild and develop their young core, and the Commanders have been aggressive in their approach as well. Philadelphia's goal is to stay on top, and adding a player like Newsome could be a strategic move to maintain that edge. Furthermore, the Eagles' front office has shown in the past that they're not afraid to make bold moves if it benefits the team. Remember the trade for A.J. Brown? That was a bold move that paid off immediately, giving Jalen Hurts a true #1 receiver and elevating the entire offense. Or the draft picks that turned into key contributors like Devonta Smith and Jordan Davis. The front office's willingness to gamble smartly is part of what makes this team so dangerous. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking at a deal for Newsome with similar strategic intent. A move designed to make the team better, not just for this season, but for the future. So, what can we expect moving forward? The Eagles are definitely monitoring the situation with Newsome, especially with the upcoming joint practice in August. The coaching staff will get a close look at him, and if everything lines up, we might see some serious negotiations happening soon after. The trade market in the NFL is always fluid, and with teams like Cleveland potentially open to selling, the Eagles might see an opportunity to strike. Of course, it all depends on the price, how much they're willing to give up, and whether Newsome's cap hit aligns with their budget. But one thing is for sure: if the Eagles want to bolster their secondary, especially with the upcoming season and the NFC East being as competitive as ever, they'll need to act decisively. And now, Philadelphia Eagles fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on the potential acquisition of Greg Newsome? Do you think he's the missing piece in the secondary? Or are you worried about the injury history and cap implications? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinions matter so much to us and to the team. We love hearing from the fanbase because it's your passion and insight that keeps this community alive and thriving. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more news, and more deep dives into everything Philadelphia Eagles. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and as always, go Birds. And now, Philadelphia Eagles fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Philadelphia Eagles. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Philadelphia Eagles news.